So we talked about what SI prefixes are, what the main ones are. We're now going to talk about prefixes. So again, sometimes scientific notation gets to be a little bit too much. And so instead of actually writing in scientific notation, we're going to write the numbers using prefixes. Okay, so you may have found that writing scientific notation can be cumbersome. And then I talked about how we're going to use prefixes. Metric prefixes are letters or words placed before a fundamental unit of measurement to indicate a multiple or submultiple of the unit. So what that means is things that you might be familiar with, like kilometer, right? Kilo is one of our prefixes. So when we're saying 1 kilometer, we're really saying 1 times 10 to the third meters. Okay? It's just easier to write kilo than it is to write 1 times 10 to the third. All right, so your data booklet, the cards that we have, they have a whole page of what are the prefixes. So there are many of them. All right, so to transfer from scientific notation to a metric prefix. Okay, the first thing you have to do is arrange the scientific notation number, right, the coefficient, so that the exponent matches one of the metric factors. So this is your scientific notation number, right? So your exponent. You want that exponent to match one of the factors in the list. That might mean that your coefficient doesn't quite meet those rules of being between 1 and 10. That's okay, because we're going to get rid of that times 10 to the exponent. We're going to get rid of that. So then it's no longer a coefficient. Okay, so we're going to arrange the scientific notation so that the number that the exponent matches is one that's in our factor list. And then you're going to either keep the coefficient or change the coefficient depending upon that. I don't have class this hour. Wait, what is this? Isn't this advisory? No, this is 4th hour. What? Yeah. Why have people just... Okay. So here's an example. I have the radius of the Earth. The radius of the Earth is 6.371 times 10 to the 6th meters. I want to write that in an exponent. Okay, so if I look at the 6 and I look in my factors, there is a 10 to the 6th, and that is mega or capital M. Okay, so I'm going to write down my coefficient, and then after that, I'm going to write mega meters, or we can abbreviate that by the big M. That's why it's so important to make sure that you have the right letters. Capital M is mega. Little m is milli, right? And then afterwards, it's meters. Okay. Here's another example. I want to convert 1.33 times 10 to the negative 5 centimeters to meters using scientific notation. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to meters, right? So I have centi, centi is times 10 to the negative 2. If I add the negative 2 and the negative 5, I get 10 to the negative 7. So instead of writing 1.33 times 10 to the negative 5 centimeters, I could write it as 1.33 times 10 to the negative 7 meters. Okay, now I want to take that 1.33 times 10 to the 7th meters and turn it into a prefix, a better prefix, right? And so in this case, the closest one is negative 6. So with a negative 6, we're going to move that decimal point from in our coefficient to the left 1, right? If it's negative, you go to the left. If it's positive, you go to the right. Okay, so in this case, now we're going to have a coefficient of 0.133. We've changed it so that it's now 10 to the 6th meters, which corresponds to micrometers, right? So now our answer would be 0.133 micrometers or micrometers, okay? And then if you're writing the symbol, it's just a U with a little extended part at the beginning, okay? That letter is a Greek letter called mu. All right, to sum it up, metric prefixes eliminate the times 10 of the scientific notation. The prefixes are a shorthand way of writing scientific notation. And when the exponent isn't found on the list, adjust the coefficient to change the times 10 exponent to one that is on the list.